So we had Purdue, according to Bet Rivers, Purdue was minus 110 favorites. That was prior to the result of this game. I'm not sure if you could even bet it so quickly after the game has ended. I think that's going to drop just a little bit. For the record, given my Purdue skepticism, they're still the favorite to win this conference. I'm not saying that's changed at all. And I really don't mean too much disrespect on a national scale here either. I just think you could go down the list of teams that are from the other conferences that I might take over them. I might take UConn over them. I might take Arizona over them. I might take Kansas and Baylor over them. I think there's more than a few teams.
Even Baylor now? You'll take Baylor over them now?
Come March, I think I would. Maybe not right now.
But... Okay, well, we can say, yeah. I mean, the way they play and their style of play, even with as dominant as Edie is, of course, come March, you're going to have some concerns.
Yeah.
You're going to have some concerns. But any big, I will say this. We talked about this before. All those bigs, and at one point we talked about that with Trace Jackson and Hunter Dickinson and all the bigs that were in this conference. Is it fair to say he's the most dominant low post guy of the group? Because he's playing like it. And if he plays that way, that's what I say about the traditional big. You don't have to be a great defender, but he can dominate you on the other end. You have to be able to defend.
Yeah.
He's dominant in the other end. He is like, we had those concerns about Hunter. And then he showed up, and you and I, we were together last week talking about that. Hunter obviously answered the bell last game, but he was dominant performance. Zeddy's been dominating all year. So if he plays that way, all bets are off because he's fouling front lines out. He's controlling the pace of the game. If a guard gets down the lane, they're just throwing it up to the lob. He's getting whatever he wants. So if he dominates, then yeah, they can do some damage. But if he's not, he wasn't obviously this force a year ago. So
yeah,
if he plays this way, look out. I mean, then I'm not gonna say what they can or cannot do. I think bigger, more athletic teams along the perimeter will give them trouble. I think that's their kryptonite, but we'll see that when we get there tonight. And I thought we saw part of that tonight. But yeah, it was a 1-point game. They still very easily could have won this game had he not gotten into foul trouble.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to give Purdue credit too. Like this was a 10-point game at half, I believe. And
they're due. They were due. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're due. There's no one out here.
I thought it was going to be
UConn. We didn't see the Xavier beat UConn the other night.
I thought it was going to be Penn State or Ohio State, one of their next two.
Yeah, for sure. Pat, you mentioned Wisconsin as a team you like. I'm actually with you. I'm buying into the Badgers a little bit in that middle group. I feel like in the Big Ten, we might do some bigger picture conference stuff at the end of the show, but I feel like in the Big Ten, from 2 through like 11, there's a lot of interchangeable parts where you might have a favorite, but you can make an argument for a bunch of different teams in there. Where does this Rutgers team fall to you guys? Because I alluded to it earlier. They really should be 3-0 in conference play right now with 2 of the more impressive road wins any team could have in this conference. And they got a lot of experience. I mean, the center, Cliff, he's a monster, man. He's one of the only guys that I think is going to cause problems for Zach Edey the way he did tonight. Would you buy Rutgers as a true contender to win this conference, RC?
Why not? They just went in and got one of the most difficult games. That I guarantee you there won't be many other teams that go in and get a win.
Yeah.
There won't be many other teams that go in. That may be I would have I would have picked him when I was sitting there talking to a friend of mine when the game started. And I said, man, if this game was in Rutgers, hands down, I'd say Rutgers would win it. And then as it started, I was like, he's like telling me, oh, it's 8 points. Can I call in the bet? I was like, Purdue, I don't know. But he asked me that. But I thought if it was, so I'm not surprised. This team has been there. We talked about it. They're one inbounds play from being 3-0, but they defend. Their D is going to travel. We can talk about whether they make shots or not. They travel. And as long as they travel, change things up, they got unique size. I mean, they got shot-making ability. They got playmakers. Cliff Amore inside is a monster. I mean, he gets it done.
Are they typically a high fouling team with that aggressive level of defense?
As you know, it's going to be how the officiating calls it. Are they going to call it, like when you were at Florida. If you was at Florida, you didn't get no calls. Guys could foul all day long. Or if we were at home, I mean, it's kind of, how that goes. I mean,
my only concern is, seeing how bad, how stagnant the Rutgers offense got at one point and not being able to make shots, fouling a little bit too much of that. It's just not opening up the door, giving me confidence to say, yeah, they have the potential to win. I just get, with how that offense was looking for a while, I was a little concerned. Edey plays that deep drop on on pick and rolls gives guards a good chance to find something and at least touch the paint. Most other bigs are going to at least be to the level of the screen. I think you got to at least be to the level of the screen and make the guard kind of slow down for a second so it doesn't come straight downhill. That's just my only concern and hesitation from just so quickly saying. But no, I do think Rutgers can be top 5 in the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah.
When their offense struggles, you got a 6'7" point guard.
Yeah.
It helps you out. I mean, that's what I mean when I say it's, and when we talked about even Nebraska the other day, there's not a lot of teams with that. So he's going to be able to, when their offense gets stagnant, which he did tonight, he's going to put you on his hip, put you on the block, and go to work. And if you help, he's going to fire it out to an open shooter. So, I mean, I think there'll be a major factor in this conference. And whether they win it or not, we'll see. It's still early. But they've proven so far this early, they were one inbound play from being 3-0. And if they're 3-0, this whole conversation is changing. They went into a place, they just ended the number 1 team in the country, the team with the most impressive resume that would have been a 1 seed if the tournament started right now. They came in and took that and really controlled it all the way through. Purdue just made a run at the end. I think there's credit to what they are and what they've been all year long. We can't take that away from them.
Yeah, I don't think there's many teams out there, to your point, RC, that will be able to control a game against a team like Purdue. Like that says something about Rutgers. Just a couple quick numbers to note. RC might not love this one. I know we have our advanced analytics, the numbers conversation every now and then, but according to Bart Torvik, over the last 2.5 weeks, Rutgers has been the number 1 team in the country in that span. They've been playing great basketball.
Let's go.
Beyond that, just a fascinating little number that I found in researching this game this morning. Steve Peichel is now 5-1 in his last 6 games against Matt Painter. Matt Painter's had some pretty good Purdue teams over the last 3-4 seasons. Steve Peichel has found some success.